The beginning was a small message that most people barely noticed. One ordinary afternoon, the royal website quietly published a short announcement. It was plain and didn't contain any fancy words or important names. There was no explanation, no emotion, and no hints. It only mentioned that a statement would be coming out at 6 p.m. That's it, just a basic message. The short message gained everyone's interest right away. In a matter of minutes, the entire country was talking about it and wondering what was going on at the palace. People started asking if something was amiss, if there had been a significant change, if the king was abdicating, or if the monarchy was under threat. No one had any answers. Journalists hurried to the royal residences. TV channels got ready for live updates, and experts on royalty made their speculations. However, none of them were able to uncover the real story. No news was heard from the palace for a long time. The mystery continued to build. As it neared 6 p.m., excitement turned to unease. Everyone anxiously watched their screens. At precisely 6 p.m., the screen suddenly illuminated. However, instead of the expected grand stage, something unexpected appeared that shocked everyone. The royal couple, William and Kate, were seen in a simple and cozy room at Kensington Palace without any royal guards or fancy decor. The scene was warm and inviting, not resembling the usual grandeur associated with royalty. Despite its quietness, it exuded a powerful presence. William was seated, staring right into the camera. His expression was peaceful, yet his gaze showed seriousness. In simple and concise terms, he stated that being royal went beyond just having a title. It also involved fulfilling one's duty. William emphasized the importance of reflecting during uncertain times to ensure that actions were genuinely serving the people rather than blindly upholding conventional practices. Kate then spoke confidently, emphasizing that the focus had shifted from roles, rules, and rituals. She emphasized the need to regain the trust of the people. Kate expressed the desire to create something fresh and authentic, reflecting the people rather than just following age-old traditions. It wasn't a formal farewell speech or a big event. Instead, it was a significant decision that would change the direction of the royal family in a subtle way. William and Kate revealed a major shift in how they would carry out their duties to the public. While they would still be members of the royal family, they would now have more flexibility in fulfilling their responsibilities. They planned to prioritize compassion, relatable leadership, and their duty to the people. The Diana Initiative, led by Kate and named after Princess Diana, aimed to promote kindness, healing, and progress in society. Despite King Charles remaining the head of the monarchy and Queen Camilla's role unchanged, William and Kate's message signaled a subtle shift towards a more respectful and positive direction. When the world heard about this news, it was clear that it was not just a regular royal update. It marked the start of something fresh. In the past, royal messages were typically formal, with grand ceremonies and a noticeable separation between the royal family and the public. However, William and Kate were now doing things differently. They weren't just conveying a message, they were also presenting a new vision. Their idea was to have a modern type of royalty. They wanted to show that they were there to help, not to control. This idea challenged the traditional beliefs of the monarchy. The media soon called it the blueprint for a modern monarchy. It was a well-thought-out strategy to bridge the divide between the royal family and the public. This represented a new path for the monarchy. William openly discussed the increasing gap between the royal family and the public. He mentioned that sticking to outdated traditions no longer made sense in modern times. He emphasized the importance of adapting to current challenges with new ideas. William made it evident that their leadership would be defined by their actions, not their title. Instead of doing the typical royal activities and using traditional symbols, William and Kate decided to do something different. They made a commitment to address important issues that are relevant in today's world, such as environmental protection, mental health support, maternal assistance, and equal educational opportunities. They aim to make a difference with their actions. For the first time in a while, top members of the royal family were deciding to break away from the usual customs. Instead, they were focusing on creating actual change instead of just keeping up appearances. It wasn't just about dressing up in fancy crowns or going to fancy parties. It was about making a positive impact on the lives of others. However, it was Kate's words that resonated with many people. She presented the Diana Initiative with a mix of emotion and determination. She expressed that Diana's story continued beyond her death. It persevered in individuals who showed kindness, advocated for others, and showed compassion even in difficult situations. Kate stated that she would actively participate in this initiative by meeting with those experiencing injustice, standing up for the voiceless, and making sure Diana's legacy was a key part of the royal family's mission. This wasn't just about honoring Diana's memory, but also about caring on her legacy. The qualities of kindness, bravery, and empathy she embodied would be reflected in their efforts. Kate's words held significance for both the public and the royal family. A subtle yet profound shift was happening within the monarchy that would bring about positive change. William and Kate were not just changing their roles, they were also changing what it means to be royalty in modern times. They were creating something new through meaningful actions, and they were also getting ready for a significant yet subtle change. William and Kate brought a new level of transparency to the monarchy by sharing all aspects of their work with the public. This included details about their charity work and finances, setting a new standard for openness. This new level of openness was a departure from the secrecy that had surrounded the royal family for centuries. William and Kate recognized that the expectations of society had shifted, and people desired transparency and accountability from their leaders. Consequently, they decided to break with tradition and allow the public to have a glimpse into their decision-making process and the allocation of funds. William and Kate were leading the royal family towards a new future with every decision they made. They were not completely discarding tradition, but instead holding on to important values while getting rid of outdated practices. Their approach to leadership was characterized by compassion, humility, and sincere concern. Their silent uprising didn't involve big speeches or flashy events. Instead, it happened gradually through careful choices and genuine communication. Despite the low-key approach, the effect was significant. Individuals across the globe sensed that something important was taking place. The royal family was transforming into something new, something that felt more relatable, authentic, and down-to-earth. As William and Kate kept going down this road, they exemplified how leadership can change over time. They demonstrated that real strength doesn't come from holding on to power, but from helping others with sincerity. Let's look into the unexpected actions of Prince William and Kate. The people's queen steps forward. The palace was filled with quiet conversations. Something unexpected had happened, and it wasn't the content of the message that shocked everyone. It was the way it was delivered. William and Kate did something that no one in the royal family anticipated. In the past, royal messages were meticulously prepared and reviewed before being made public. Each word was carefully selected, and every statement was checked by many advisors. However, this time was different. It was more personal. It was genuine. It was a unique approach, and most importantly, it was done independently. King Charles was surprised as he watched the speech on TV in Clarence House. He was not upset about the words spoken, but rather that he had not been informed beforehand. Charles is known for being cautious and careful, so being caught off guard was unexpected. He likes to avoid sudden changes and keep his emotions in check. However, William and Kate's bold actions have pushed boundaries and crossed new lines. Queen Camilla felt a strong connection to the moment. When Kate talked about the Diana Initiative, It brought back emotions that Camilla had tried to suppress. Kate was not only paying tribute to Diana, but also reviving her memory and impact. It felt like Diana was being brought back to life, not just as a beloved figure, but as a powerful force that still affected the nation. Camilla, who had struggled to find her role in the royal family, was deeply moved by Kate's words, which reopened old wounds that had never fully healed. Advisors in the palace were rushing around trying to figure out how to deal with the situation. They were having urgent meetings to discuss their response. The people were mostly on the side of William and Kate. They were worried that any statement from the palace might come off as defensive or trivial. Eventually, they decided to stay silent. However, the silence spoke volumes and showed there was tension within the royal family. The disagreement was not just about titles or customs anymore. It was about different views and the future ahead. King Charles was feeling uncomfortable. He had just become king, but his son was getting more attention. William and Kate's behavior made it seem like his rule was being overshadowed from the start. Talking to William about it might make things worse. It could widen the divide and upset the public, who liked the younger couple's honesty and openness. This moment revealed a significant change occurring within the monarchy. The world was evolving, and the royal family was being torn between two ideals. One side represented the traditional ways, the carefully maintained image, and the formal distance that had characterized royalty for ages. The other side represented an increasing need for openness, genuineness, and genuine connection with the public. It was no longer just about wearing the crown, but about connecting with the people in a meaningful way. Quiet discussions started happening inside Kensington Palace because individuals were starting to observe a change in Kate. She was no longer the reserved duchess who stayed silent next to her husband. Kate was taking on a more active role and emerging as a leader in her way. There were concerns among some in the palace that she was not following the rules, but others believed it was necessary for the monarchy to remain significant in a world that is constantly evolving. During everything that happened, William and Kate stayed dedicated to their goal. They weren't motivated by wanting power or fame. They believed in serving others and being truthful, values that weren't always emphasized in royal life. As time went on, the focus moved away from the crown. The symbol of leadership wasn't just the monarch's role anymore. It was Kate, standing confident, genuine, and modern, who started to become the main focus. People nationwide began referring to her as the People's Queen, a title previously held by Diana. This new title wasn't meant as a comparison, but as recognition of Kate's special ability to connect with the public. She wasn't looking for approval or a crown. She was setting a positive example, and people were taking notice. Her initial solo engagements further highlighted this. During a visit to a mental health facility in Manchester, she connected with teenage girls receiving counseling for personal issues. There were no extravagant speeches or paparazzi, just intimate chats. Following the visit, a young girl who felt ignored her whole life mentioned how Kate made her feel like a friend rather than a royal. This particular moment exemplified Kate's sincerity and compassion. She wasn't just fulfilling an obligation. She genuinely cared, treating everyone she encountered with kindness and respect. Soon after, Kate paid a secret visit to a women's shelter in Birmingham. She came without any prior announcement or paparazzi waiting outside. The public only found out about it afterwards when some pictures surfaced. In one of the photos, Kate was hugging a woman who had gone through domestic violence. There was no separation or hesitance between them, just support, understanding, and being present. Kate didn't seek attention or media coverage. She wanted to convey the message that the women at the shelter are important. She is there for them, and they are not by themselves. Meanwhile, the Diana Initiative kept getting bigger. Kate started a center that provides free counseling for young people dealing with grief, specifically to help with the challenges William and Harry went through after losing their mom. She also revealed plans for a revolutionary global meeting centered on women's health, a subject that had previously been avoided by the royal family. With every move she made, she was subtly increasing the royal family's involvement in areas that had been ignored for a long time, proving that real leadership isn't just about giving speeches or attending events, but about listening, empathizing, and making a difference. The palace observed the situation with anxiety, but some people were uncertain about how the increasing independence would affect the monarchy. On the other hand, the public viewed it differently, with optimism, compassion, and seeing a royal figure who they could relate to. Kate was not rebelling against the crown. Instead, she was redefining the concept of leadership. In these quiet and sincere moments, Kate was creating a new path for the royal family. She wasn't looking for attention or making a big show, but rather she was earning the title of People's Queen through her love, kindness, and being there for others. Could this be the reason behind the struggle that Princess Beatrice faced in the palace? Let's find out. The silent struggles behind royal walls. Beyond the fancy gates of Buckingham Palace, there was a young princess named Beatrice who faced difficulties in her life. She was born into royalty as the oldest daughter of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. Although her life appeared flawless with royal events and pretty outfits, Beatrice dealt with numerous challenges behind the scenes. Since she was young, Beatrice has always been in the spotlight because of the royal family. She was constantly followed by cameras, and every action and word of hers were observed by millions of people. This pressure was especially difficult for a child. Beatrice had to deal with the burden of always having to act flawlessly, avoid errors, and represent the royal family with elegance. Despite this, all she wanted was to be herself, to laugh without worry, and to have a childhood free of overwhelming expectations. Upon her arrival at school, Beatrice faced a new challenge. She was diagnosed with dyslexia. This condition made it hard for her to read and write. While her peers found reading effortless, she struggled to keep up. Beatrice put in extra effort, spending hours studying and practicing. However, she refused to let her learning difference limit her. She persevered, determined to overcome obstacles. Despite her determination, there were days filled with frustration and tears. The constant struggle took a toll on her, but she never lost hope. While facing her challenges at school, she also experienced pain in her family life. Her parents went through a very public divorce, which caused her a lot of sorrow. The media shared all the details of their split, making their private family issues public gossip. Beatrice was devastated to see her family's problems splashed across newspapers and TV. As a child, she struggled to comprehend why her parents couldn't stay together, all while the world looked on and gave their opinions. As she got older, the demands of being a royal became more overwhelming for Beatrice. Unlike her cousins, Prince William and Prince Harry, who were next in line for the throne, Beatrice's position in the royal family was less certain. She was included in royal events, but not as prominently as others. This made her feel uncomfortable. She had to figure out her role and place within the family. She often had to balance her duty as a royal with her desire for personal freedom. The pressure on her was great, but she didn't always have many chances to do what she wanted. She was often compared to other royal family members in the media. Critics criticized her looks, clothing, and weight. Cruel headlines and words were used against her. All the constant criticism was hard for her as she tried to feel good about herself. Despite putting on a happy face for the cameras, the negativity affected her behind closed doors. However, she remained positive and chose to be kind instead of resentful. Her father, Prince Andrew, later got caught up in major controversies that caused problems for the royal family. Once again, Beatrice found herself in the middle of a situation she couldn't control. The scandal involving her father led to unwanted scrutiny and criticism directed at her. People began to doubt her loyalty, decisions, and what the future held for her. She was judged by the public, even though she played no role in her father's actions. Despite the burden of her family's problems, she stayed calm and composed. Finding love has its difficulties. When Beatrice started a relationship with Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi, the media watched them closely. Every part of their dating was scrutinized and talked about. Organizing their wedding became more challenging during a global pandemic. They had to cancel their extravagant wedding and have a small private ceremony instead. Despite the changes, Beatrice and Edoardo valued their love over royal customs. Even after getting married, Beatrice had to deal with new challenges. She had to manage her personal life along with her royal duties. While she didn't have as many responsibilities as senior members of the royal family, she was still mandated to uphold the family's reputation with elegance and honor. Beatrice took on charity work, supported various causes, and worked diligently behind the scenes. Despite not receiving much recognition from the public, she stayed committed to assisting others. One of the biggest struggles she faced was trying to establish a career that was not connected to the royal family. Beatrice ventured into the business sector, specifically finance and technology. It wasn't an easy choice, as some people doubted if a royal should have a typical job. However, she was resolute in wanting to have a life that didn't revolve solely around her royal status. Despite facing skepticism and uncertainty, she put in a lot of effort to demonstrate her skills. Juggling work, family, and royal responsibilities was a constant difficulty, but she handled it all with a quiet sense of determination. Beatrice faced challenges throughout her life and was able to overcome them. She used her dyslexia as a way to raise awareness and support others with similar difficulties. Her family issues taught her how to be resilient. Criticism from the media helped her develop a tougher attitude. Dealing with complex royal relationships taught her the importance of being patient and graceful. Beatrice's story shows bravery in a subtle way. She didn't look for attention, but handled it gracefully when it came her way. She didn't let her challenges defeat her. Instead, she faced them, learned from them, and became stronger. When confronted with cruelty, she responded with kindness. When faced with doubt, she chose hard work. And when judged, she responded with love. Today, Princess Beatrice leads a life full of love, purpose, and inner strength. She is committed to helping important causes, taking care of her child, and creating a meaningful existence. Princess Beatrice's story is not about big drama or scandal, but about enduring silently, being resilient in a gentle way, and achieving victories quietly. Even though the media tends to highlight the more sensational stories of royalty, Princess Beatrice's life serves as a reminder that real strength is often found in the calm moments, the unseen struggles, and the determined effort to keep progressing despite the weight of responsibilities. What could have caused these challenges, and what evolution happened in the palace? The moment the monarchy began to change forever, the big change didn't happen with flashy celebrations or official statements. It wasn't brought about by lengthy speeches or declarations from royalty. Instead, it happened quietly, almost gently, in a plain room full of regular people during a community meeting in Cardiff. Kate Middleton, without a prepared script or notes, spoke sincerely to the crowd. And at that moment, everything started to change. She spoke in a way that deeply moved everyone who was listening. She did not want to come across as superior or act like royalty looking down on others. Instead, she wanted to be alongside the people. She thought that if the royals did not stand by the people, they would lose the trust that they should be preserving. Her words made the whole room fall silent as they resonated with everyone. It was a moment of sincerity, of truth, of genuine connection. It was unexpected for the public to hear such honest words from a royal family member, But it was exactly what they wanted to hear. That one simple moment was more impactful than any elaborate ceremony. Kate breathed new life into the monarchy at that moment. She highlighted the importance of caring for those they serve, showing the human side behind the crowns and titles. The media quickly spread the moment, increasing admiration for Kate. She surpassed even Princess Diana's popularity, which many believed to be unattainable. While the public was becoming more enamored with Kate, tensions were rising within the palace. The royal household had long been known for adhering to strict rules and traditions, but Kate was introducing a new style of leadership that deviated from the traditional norms. She was not only fulfilling her royal responsibilities, but also redefining the concept of these duties. The monarchy was no longer solely focused on ancestry, age-old customs, or ancient rituals, as Kate was demonstrating that it could also emphasize qualities such as empathy, generosity, and genuine service. By becoming a modern royal who could relate to people of all ages, Kate surprised and greatly benefited the royal family. She was known as the People's Queen, not just because of her title, but because of the affection and confidence she had gained from the public. Kate's influence wasn't based on flashy announcements or big events, but rather on genuine and intimate interactions that conveyed more than words ever could. Gradually, her small actions started to alter the public perception of the British monarchy. More and more people started paying attention to Kate, and it was obvious that this was not just a short-lived moment of focus. It marked the start of something significant. Those who used to admire the king and queen now respected Kate instead. She didn't actively seek power or influence, yet she earned something more important, the genuine respect of the people. Many now viewed her as a queen in essence, even without the official title. At Buckingham Palace, people were worried about the growing popularity of Kate, especially those who valued royal traditions. King Charles III, who had been waiting for many years to become king, now faced a surprising challenge to his long-awaited rule. Instead of being the center of attention as he had planned, he was now sharing the spotlight with a younger couple who had won over the hearts of millions with their genuine warmth and friendliness. Charles found himself in a strange and uncomfortable situation. The dignity and formality he had worked on for years now seemed outdated. On the other hand, William and Kate's natural way of interacting with people was charming and effortless. They didn't need to carefully manage their image or follow strict rules. Instead, they were guided by honesty, empathy, and genuine gestures. Queen Camilla experienced an even stronger impact from the changes. She had spent a long time working on improving how the public saw her, always being overshadowed by Diana. Kate's sincere attempts to honor Diana's memory, such as the Diana Initiative, led to new comparisons being made. These were not just tributes. They seemed like Kate was taking back a place that Camilla had tried to occupy but never quite managed. People were once again drawn to authenticity rather than tradition. Even though the palace maintained a strong appearance to the public, the people inside could sense the increasing stress. The advisors cautioned King Charles against competing with the rising popularity of William and Kate. Going against them might lead to losing support from the public, who was already embracing this fresh, sincere portrayal of royalty. To many, Kate was seen as the true queen, not because of her status, but due to her compassion, generosity, and strong bond with the people. In the meantime, Charles realized that his big moment was being overshadowed just as it was starting. His coronation, which was supposed to be a highlight after waiting and serving for so long, was losing its importance. A new story was emerging, one that wasn't about old traditions, but about being real and honest. Charles and Camilla stuck to tradition, while William and Kate forged their way. They didn't rely on their royal titles or formalities for influence. Instead, they gained power through openness, truthfulness, and thoughtful gestures. They were shaping a more contemporary monarchy that emphasized empathy and sincerity, connecting with people on a personal level rather than just upholding tradition. William was a thoughtful and consistent leader. When he talked to the public, he chose his words carefully but made sure they were easy to understand. He thought the monarchy should change and adapt with the people, or it might become unimportant. This wasn't a rebellion, but a careful decision to move away from the quiet approach that hurt his mother and could hurt the institution if not addressed. William confided in his closest friends and family about his true feelings. He no longer wanted to pretend to be someone he wasn't in order to hide his pain. He had observed how the royal family prioritized their public image over their mental health, forcing them to act happy even when they were suffering inside. He saw Kate struggling under the weight of constant public judgment, always expected to be flawless and unable to reveal her true emotions. He understood that things wanted to be different. He did not want the Diana Initiative to become part of the palace's regular charitable activities. To him, it was not just about giving to those in need, but also about preserving his mother's memory accurately. He wanted it to stay separate from the palace, operating alone, to truly honor Diana's values and beliefs. William's subtle revolution extended beyond his public actions. Within the palace walls, he was connecting with other royal family members who had been marginalized or silenced due to old-fashioned family dynamics. He welcomed them to participate in redefining the role of royalty. His visit with Princess Beatrice at Frogmore Cottage was more than just a casual meeting. It was a small but significant move towards fixing past family issues. Beatrice had experienced her challenges within the royal family, but she showed strength and honesty, qualities that William thought were essential for the monarchy. He told her that she didn't have to keep quiet or obey old-fashioned rules to belong in the royal family. What was important now was being truthful and having integrity. He reached out to Princess Eugenie and Zara Tyndall, building stronger relationships with those who supported his idea of a more transparent and sincere royal family. He made a conscious effort to bond with Duchess Sophie, Countess of Wessex. Sophie had always been a quiet but dependable presence, usually remaining in the shadows. William viewed her not just as a respected member of the royal family, but as a capable ally who could contribute to shaping the future of the monarchy. Sophie's elegance, modesty, and composed guidance were precisely what the royal family mandated to endure and prosper. A growing circle of supportive family members showed a quiet but significant change happening inside the palace. William knew that the monarchy couldn't rely on titles, rules, or hiding things anymore. Its future now hinged on honesty, trust, and the bravery to confront tough truths. Kate was at the center of everything as the winds of change began to blow. She was graceful, steady, and quietly making a difference in history with her sincere words and gentle actions. The quiet revolution inside the palace. A subtle transformation was happening within the majestic castle walls. It wasn't a loud or flashy change, but rather a quiet and calm one. The traditional monarchy was gradually evolving, moving away from suppressing emotions and concealing suffering. Instead, honesty, resilience, and openness were becoming valued qualities within the royal family. Prince William was at the forefront of this gentle revolution. His job went beyond getting ready to become king one day. It was about something more profound and significant. William brought something new to the monarchy, a sense of modernity while still valuing tradition. He didn't brag or make big speeches. He acted quietly and cautiously. Each of his actions had significance, even though they didn't seem forced. People took notice of him. Prince William and his wife Catherine gradually became the faces of the royal family in a natural and almost effortless way. Over time, there were small changes happening in the royal family. Public events and appearances that used to be mostly held at Buckingham Palace started happening more at Kensington Palace. Without officially announcing it, William and Catherine were starting to take on more duties. Media coverage began to shift from King Charles and Queen Camilla to William and Kate. It wasn't about competing, but rather people were attracted to their approachable leadership style. William's leadership approach did not involve seeking power, but rather embodying the type of leadership that people desired. While others focused on rules and titles, William opted for a more meaningful and graceful path. He admired Catherine's understated charm, respected his mother, Princess Diana's compassion, and introduced a sense of warmth into previously austere environments. Wherever he went, people noticed his calm maturity, quiet strength, and genuine curiosity. Whether he was at formal events or just out in public, it was clear he had the same confidence as his parents. However, his approach was gentle, yet firm, modern, but still respectful of tradition. People could tell he was prepared to take on a leadership role, and they were excited to see how he would develop in the position that was waiting for him. There were other members of the royal family besides Prince William who were making changes quietly. Princess Charlotte, his daughter, was displaying impressive leadership qualities. Even though she was still very young, Charlotte showed a surprising level of self-assurance. When at public events, she interacted with people in a natural way, giving warm smiles and having polite conversations that seemed mature for her age. Her intelligence, understanding, and poised demeanor were impossible to overlook. Charlotte was special not only because she came from a royal family, but also because she had a strong personality. Even when she was young, she showed that she could easily relate to others with a kindness that suggested she could be a leader in the future. Prince Louis, the youngest of the Cambridge children, brought a lively energy to the royal family. His cheerful demeanor and playful personality charmed the public and brought a new dynamic to royal events. Despite uncertainties about his future in the monarchy, many saw him as a symbol of blending tradition with modernity. As Prince William became more significant in the royal family, so did the pressure on him. Being the oldest son meant he was the next in line for the throne. However, this also brought a complex set of duties. In the royal family, the heir has a lot of responsibilities, while the younger siblings, sometimes known as the spare, deal with their challenging situations. Prince William and Prince Harry's relationship has always been closely watched by the public. Their bond has evolved over time, influenced by the pressures of being royal and their personal challenges. William's role as a prince has not only shaped his life, but also the lives of his wife and children. As a couple, William and Catherine are focused on raising their children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, with an awareness of their royal duties while ensuring they remain humble. One important change had already influenced Charlotte's future: the new law guaranteeing equal rights in the royal succession. This law made sure that daughters had the same inheritance rights as sons. Charlotte's position in the line of succession was now secure, making her future in the monarchy very promising. She had already confidently stood alongside Queen Elizabeth II during important events, proving that she was prepared to represent the royal family whenever needed. However, as the royal family was getting used to their new routine, things took a sudden turn. King Charles made a surprising announcement that would greatly impact the monarchy and its future. As King Charles walked towards the stage, the room became silent. He moved slowly, each step feeling heavy with the significance of the moment. The motions filled the air as thoughts of the monarchy's history, Queen Elizabeth's lengthy reign, and the uncertain future weighed heavily on the royal family. His son, Prince William, along with his daughter-in-law, Catherine, and their 3 children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, sat in front of him. Although their expressions were peaceful, there was a sense of anticipation in the air. It was clear they were aware of the significance of what was about to be announced. King Charles spoke in a calm voice, but it was clear he was feeling strong emotions. He talked to his family with a sense of responsibility and deep personal connection. The first words he said set the mood, but it was his next words that would shock the entire royal family. King Charles made an announcement that Princess Charlotte needs to get ready to become the Queen. The people in the room were shocked and surprised when they heard this unexpected news. The royal family was taken aback by the declaration. Everyone was looking at each other with wide eyes, unable to believe what they had just heard. It was always assumed that Prince George, being the eldest child, would be the one to inherit the throne. However, now Charlotte's name has been mentioned in a way that caught everyone off guard. The quiet that came after was very loud. William and Catherine quickly looked at each other with faces that were hard to read. Prince George, next to his sister, seemed puzzled. He had always known he would be the next in line, but now his future didn't seem so clear. Charlotte sat tall and calm as she focused intently on her grandfather, King Charles. Her hands were folded neatly in her lap, and her eyes never wavered. Despite the seriousness of the situation, she remained composed and almost regal, as if she had already come to terms with whatever the future held for her. King Charles kept talking in a gentle but determined tone. He talked about George and Charlotte, saying good things about them. George had a calm strength and could stay composed in tough situations, showing quiet confidence. Charlotte, on the other hand, had bold confidence, showed empathy, and had a talent for connecting with others. The king believed both of them had the potential for greatness. William sat silently, deep in thought with his hands folded. Catherine watched her daughter intently, her face reflecting a rare moment of deep thinking. Everything had just changed drastically, and they were still trying to understand the king's words completely. Prince George felt anxious and confused about what was happening. He wondered if the throne would be shared between him and his sister now. He questioned if he was still the rightful heir, or if he would have to co-lead with his sister. These uncertainties weighed heavily on his mind. King Charles noticed that there was tension within the family, so he attempted to calm them down. He made sure to mention that both George and Charlotte would be trained to take on leadership roles, acknowledging their individual strengths. The king was very impressed by Charlotte and could see that she had a unique mix of elegance, self-assurance, and resilience that would benefit the monarchy in the future. As the king talked, the mood in the room became a bit more relaxed, even though his announcement was still very serious. His words were not only important historically, but also very meaningful to him. This was a decision that was not taken lightly, and everyone knew how important it was. Was King Charles making changes to ensure the monarchy's future? Or was he breaking tradition with a major shift in royal history as the monarchy faces a significant transformation after centuries of stability? Now all eyes in the room were on William and Catherine's 3 children. Prince George, who had always been groomed to be the future monarch, had the right qualities for the role with his composed and poised behavior. However, the addition of Charlotte brought a new dynamic to the mix. Charlotte had shown leadership at public events. At the Platinum Jubilee, she corrected her brother's behavior in a gentle manner, showing maturity and confidence. She was bringing a new, modern energy to the royal family while still honoring tradition. King Charles viewed her as more than just a royal child. He saw her as someone who could lead the monarchy into a new era. Even at a young age, her leadership abilities were becoming hard to overlook. Prince Louis was a cheerful and playful young boy who had already won over the hearts of many people. His future role in the monarchy was uncertain, but his charm brought a sense of warmth to the royal family's duties. It was unclear if he would take on more responsibilities or simply continue to bring happiness to his family, but he was loved and admired by all. After King Charles' speech ended, Prince William sat quietly, carefully listening to every word. The monarchy's future had changed, impacting not only his life, but also the lives of his children. The royal family, bonded by centuries-old customs, was now on the brink of a fresh start. The changes happening in the palace were quiet, gradual, and impactful. A new generation was emerging with qualities like inner strength, elegance, and unwavering commitment, not through force, but peaceful determination. The global audience observed as the royal family navigated through this sensitive and uncertain phase, eagerly anticipating what lies ahead. But was this a strategic move by King Charles? Or was he simply creating suspense, keeping the public on edge about the monarchy's future? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Before you go, be sure to click on the video shown on your screen.